on or about September 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2020, Trezell West and Jacqueline West did, with malice aforethought, murder Orrin West, a human being, in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, second-degree murder, a felony. It is further alleged that the above offense is a serious felony within the meaning of Penal Code Section 192.7C1. Then if you look at the circumstance and aggravation, these are the ones that are so painful to actually consider. So view with discretion. It is further alleged that the defendant Trezell West and Jacqueline West committed a crime that involved great violence, threat of great bodily harm, or other acts disclosing a high degree of cruelty, viciousness, and callousness within the meaning of California Rules of Court 4.421A1. And again, these are aggravating circumstances that could enhance the penalty. It is further that the victim, Orrin West, was particularly vulnerable within the meaning of California Rule of Court 4.421. Again, the age of the kids makes them particularly more vulnerable. It's further alleged that the West, I'll just say, induced others to participate in the commission of the crime or occupied a position of leadership or dominance of other participants in its commission within the meaning of California rules. So here, this is the one we're talking about. They induced the other children, is what we're assuming, to participate in this crime.
Now, let me ask you, if this was not assumed to be the children, you would be talking about an adult, therefore would be it would turn to an arrest of additional perpetrators, is what I was trying to say. If this statement here, circumstance in aggravation, if that pertained to an adult, now we would have a third or a fourth piece arrested.
An accessory.
Yes. Possibly, unless they were a cooperating witness that broke this case, right. But I think the logical thing is that they induced the kids to do this. That's the logical.
I think that comes out in the next paragraph.
Yeah. It's further alleged that the West, I'll just do this shorthand, took advantage of a position of trust or confidence to commit the offense within the meaning of California rules. So yeah, I mean, how do you interpret that? They took advantage of a position of trust. A parent-child relationship is a position of trust.
Ed, you want to talk about that a little bit? I know you and I spoke about it and you came right to that conclusion. And there's a lot of people in the chat that are confused and saying, wait, why is everybody saying that they forced their other children to participate in whatever it was, a beating, a stomping?
I think later on in the indictment, it states that a little more clearly.
Okay. All right. I got to get to the next page.
Count 2, Penal Code Section 187, murder. Okay, this is pertaining to Orrin West. Essentially, then we go to the circumstances. It's further alleged that the defendant, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, committed a crime that involved great violence, threat of great bodily harm, or other acts disclosing a high degree of cruelty, viciousness, callousness, same thing. Also charging the aggravation of a particularly vulnerable within the meaning of California rules. Essentially, these are very similar. Okay, leadership or dominance of other participants.
Keep going on. It speaks about minors being involved.
Yeah, and then we go down again. That the manner the crime was carried out indicates planning, sophistication, or professionalism within the meaning of the rules.
Next page.
We go down to the next page. They took advantage of a position of trust or confidence to commit the offense within the meaning of the California rules. And then count 3. This is the West did willfully harm or endanger Orrin West, a human being, in violation of Penal Code Section 273A. Committed a crime that involved great violence, threat, great bodily harm, or other acts disclosing a high degree of cruelty. These are similar aggravating factors. The vulnerable person, and then we go down, induce others to participate.
Where's the part that you're speaking about, Ed?
Check. What's the next page?
Induced a minor to commit or assist in the commission of the crime. That's what you're talking about, Ed.
That's
And
it right there.
That's the one. When you talk about inducing a minor,
Where do I?
that's
I don't
why
see
we're
that.
looking at the
What
kid.
It's right there on the top of the page.
5. Top of page
Oh,
5.
okay, right here. Okay, yeah. So this section here, circumstances in aggravation. You see, some of this stuff is so redundant that you could just actually miss that.
Yeah.
So it's important that people. Let me just make this as big as possible so everybody could see it. So this is what we're talking about right here. Trezell and
Induced a
Jacqueline West.
minor, but now even look at the next one. This is inducing a minor to assist in the commission of a crime. And then you go to the next one, it says they threatened witnesses, unlawfully prevented or dissuaded witnesses from testifying, suborned perjury, or in another way illegally interfered with the judicial process. So how else can they have done that if they were not their own kids? You know, I mean, everyone was watching this family. The news was all over them. So the only place where they were not watched was inside the home. You
Right.
know?
Let me ask you, gentlemen, and this goes to all of us here on the panel. In this statement here, it's further alleged and the threatening of witnesses. Is this, in layman's terms, them saying that Trezell and Jacqueline West themselves threatened anybody if they came forward that we would potentially kill you or hurt you? This is what this sounds like to me, because I've been on many interrogations and interviews where people have said, okay, I'm going to tell you what happened, but I'm going to tell you that these people wanted to kill me if I said anything. They told me if I told the police, I would be dead. I would be in pieces, or whatever the case may be. Does this sound like something like that?
This is witness tampering. This is
Yeah.
obviously, you know, they're threatening someone to dissuade them from testifying. They're not saying anything, you know.
And it could be a idle threat. It could be something, you're putting a guilt trip on someone, a family member. You know what's going to happen to me if you talk.
Right.
Blah, blah,
Well,
blah.
it's not idle after 2 kids get killed.
Right.
Yeah. So these people knew what the West did and what they did to their 2 little babies.
And who knows who they talk to? We always catch these bad guys because they can't keep their mouth shut. All right.
50 people were brought forward, Ed, in this grand jury.
They told somebody. They told
It's
somebody.
important to understand that all 50 of these people did not witness them killing these kids, but they may have corroborated certain aspects of it. And that's where I think these people were threatened or dissuaded not to participate, because they may not have been, they could have been somewhat collateral, but just confirming certain facts that.
Ed, what was the point that you were trying to bring up?
The same thing, what Joe just said. You got 50 witnesses in there. Some of them have to be neighbors. Some of them have to be people that these parents spoke to and may have let out what they had done. Okay, maybe seeking help or whatever the case may be. And then you have the neighbors over there. There's probably a lot of electronic evidence as well, cell phones, doorbells, like rings and surveillance cameras, that might have caught movements in and around that time frame between September, the 1st of September and the end of September.